Welcome back to the Rural Radio Network. Chad Moyer with you, and our Fridays in the Field segment brought to you by FNBO, the Great Big Small Bank. Back in Northeast Nebraska, near Pierce, Nebraska, where we're visiting with Aaron Zimmerman, an organic farmer. Aaron, thanks for visiting with us again here today. First of all, just give us the summary over the last 5 weeks. How has the weather treated you here in Pierce County?
It hasn't been ideal, Chad. It's after we spoke, we had a pretty good storm come through. I think we had a total of about 7 inches of rain, and it all came fast. And we had a lot of wind with it too, so we have a certain percentage of green snap that has yet to be determined. So we got pretty beat up out of the deal, but it at least allowed us to shut our irrigations off for a while.
Yeah, now we're standing in front of an operating pivot here, obviously. What does the soil profile look like? Is there some moisture to be had yet, or do you have some room for maybe some more rains?
We always leave room for rain, or at least we try to. So we kind of try to keep her probably in the three-quarter mark, I suppose. So they got chances of rain coming up here, I think tonight and tomorrow, so hopefully we can get lucky and be able to shut these things off.
Well, let's talk about what's happened in the organic operation since we last visited. We're standing next to a field that looks bare. You had field peas over here, right?
We did. So it was right after the storm came through. We got them harvested out, and that was another one of the things. The storm really didn't do us any favors. It put a lot of them on the ground. But nonetheless, we're able to get her harvested out. And I think the plan is we're going to put that to alfalfa. We'll fall seed alfalfa into it.
Okay. As far as yield goes, yield quality on field peas, don't know much about it, but was it what you expected?
Yeah, I think so. You know, they yield pretty similar to soybeans. They ended up doing 30 bushel though, but we probably left half of them on the ground because of that storm. So, you know, you factor that in, I think we can do good growing peas. We just got to have a little better luck next time.
And what's the market for field peas?
Feed mainly, which is what we're going to do with it.
Aaron, we're standing here in a field of soybeans. Last time when we were here, we saw a whole lot more rye as a cover crop in this field. And as you see now, you see a whole lot more soybeans. So kind of bring us up to date. This was an interesting experiment that you had done for this season, right?
It is, and that's, I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, generally with organics, it's tillage to you know, deal with weed pressure. But in this case, it's very minimum till. We're using rye to suppress weeds and grasses. So basically the timeline goes in the spring, you know, normal time you would plant soybeans, say in May, for instance, early May. We disc the corn stalks up to reset the weeds to zero. We plant a very high rate of rye, 3 bushel to the acre in this case. And then we also plant a high rate of soybeans as well. And in this case, we drilled the soybeans here too. And what that does is the rye acts as a weed suppressor while the soybeans are taking their time getting going. And then as time goes, you know, the rye is it wants to shut down in July anyways. But by that time, the soybeans have some size to them and they're getting ready to start canopying out. So it's kind of a neat handoff.
You know, and obviously there is some time yet to the season here, but you know, as it stands now and as you kind of look at it, are you satisfied with the combination and how it kind of worked out?
Yeah, we're very satisfied. I'm actually surprised. It was looking pretty tough earlier. I mean, the rye looked like it was going to take over and choke everything out, but the soybeans must have had enough energy in the seed that it kept them going. And I think the other key is you plant those soybeans close enough that they kind of have a buddy system and kind of get their own ecosystem to keep them going through while the rye is actively suppressing anything that's trying to compete with it. So, you know, now, I mean, you can look down in the canopy and you'll see brown and yellow dying rye down underneath it.
So, Aaron, as you kind of look at it here, you know, like you say, you look down in the rows, that rye is kind of flattening out. Will that be flat enough come harvest time that it wouldn't affect any harvest operation?
Yeah, it's not going to affect the combine any. It'll be fine. It'll be pretty much dried up and completely shut down at that point. So, you know, now it's solely up to the soybeans to keep the canopy. So where the canopy might not have necessarily been tight enough because of a stand issue or whatever, you know, we'll probably see some weeds poking through. We always have the option of coming through with a weed zapper and knocking down anything that dares reach its head up above the canopy of the beans.
Something else this time of year that takes place, whether it's organic or conventional, And that is the control of insects and diseases. And you've been on the forefront of that too with some insect pressure, huh?
Yeah, we do have some insect pressure on some corn. We've got western bean and corn borer that we're dealing with. And fortunately, there is a tool or two that we can use to keep them beat back a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a little bit about that? How do you combat insects in an organic operation?
So in this case, we're using a product called Pyganic, and it's a pyrethrin that's derived from chrysanthemums.
Well, we're kind of brought up to present now, Aaron. What are the keys for you, now through the end of summer? What are you going to be kind of focusing on?
If the rain doesn't help, it's just keeping pivots going from now on. We've got hay meadow to knock down. That's certified organic as well. We're about done with that. But yeah, other than that, it's just irrigating.
All right, very good. Aaron, thanks so much for the time again. Appreciate it very much. Again, we've been visiting with Aaron Zimmerman from Pierce, Nebraska, an organic farmer here in Pierce County, and our update on Fridays in the Field brought to you by FNBO, the Great Big Small Bank.